When I would wake up in the morning a night after drinking, I was probably a couple days into a bender, and I would be in the midst of all the panic and anxiety. That's when I would start making promises to myself that I was going to quit drinking, that I wasn't going to do this again. And I was always very honest with myself. I wasn't trying to justify my drinking. I wasn't trying to convince myself that I didn't have a drinking problem. I knew in that moment that I had a drinking problem and I needed to quit. But without fail, within a matter of hours, there I was drinking again, doing the very thing that I promised myself that I wasn't going to do. And now being sober and looking back at that, the power of the addicted brain, it fascinates me, because I could go from being so sincere and believing myself that I was really going to quit drinking. In the moment, I believed myself, but there I was breaking that promise. And I think when you're trying to quit drinking, or you're in the early stages of sobriety, the first couple days, maybe even first couple hours, that is arguably the hardest spot to be in as an alcoholic. That moment when you're transitioning to entertaining drinking, negotiating with yourself, lying to yourself, thinking that you can only have one or two, or you're just going to keep it in check tonight, or I just overreacted this morning, I don't really have a problem. And how do you push through that? How do you not let that alcoholic brain win? How do you not just give in and drink? For me, in my experience, the only thing that got me through that was playing the tape forward. And in doing so, I had to be very honest with myself. When it was that time of day that I would just flip, my brain would literally just flip, and I would go to the store and buy alcohol, I set a time period where I would just stop and think, like an hour. And during that hour, I would usually try to keep myself busy doing something, but while I was doing something, I was playing the tape forward in my head of asking myself questions like, how is this going to be different? When has this ever been different? The past few times that you've done this, just honestly look over the last week. Did you ever just have one or two drinks? Did you ever just have a couple drinks, or no? Was it every single time you drank to blackout, passed out, and then just kept going with it and stayed stuck in the vicious cycle? And I think in doing so, I had the ability to convince myself just enough to push through that night, that evening, not buy alcohol, and make it through to the next day and wake up sober. And in the moment, it wasn't fun. It wasn't easy. It was definitely a fight. But if you find yourself in that place in the evenings, like pretty much every day, there are two things that you can be guaranteed of, whichever direction you decide to go. If you choose to drink, or you fight off the cravings and you don't drink. If you do decide to drink, one thing you can be guaranteed of is you will wake up tomorrow morning and you will regret the fact that you drank. And you'll also have a lot of anxiety along with that. But if you fight through it and you don't drink, you can be guaranteed that you will wake up tomorrow morning very proud of yourself that you didn't drink, and you're going to be so thankful that you didn't drink. You're going to experience that delayed gratification. And momentum's going to build, and your confidence is going to build, and it's going to help you get through that next day, evening, night. Because nobody ever regrets waking up after a night of not drinking and thinks, I wish I would have drank last night. Said no one ever.